Hola estudiantes! Today we're going to take a look at reflexive verbs. So there are a couple of things that you need to know about this thing called reflexive verbs. And this is pretty different from anything that we really do in English. So first off, in Spanish, some verbs can be reflexive when the subject is doing the action for themselves or to themselves. So let's take a look at these 4 sentences and decide whether or not these are reflexive. So the first sentence, I'm combing my hair. I'm doing this to myself. I'm combing my own hair, so that is reflexive. The second sentence, I'm combing my sister's hair. So I'm not doing this to myself, I'm doing this to someone else, and that means that it is not reflexive. My third sentence, he is taking a bath. We could also say he is bathing himself. So he is doing this to himself, so it is reflexive. My fourth sentence, he's giving the dog a bath. He is not doing this to himself, he's doing this to the dog, so it is not reflexive. The second thing you need to know when you're dealing with just trying to decide whether or not to use a reflexive verb, if you look up a word in a dictionary or maybe in your vocabulary list, if your verb ends in the letters SE, then that is telling you that you're looking at a verb that can be used reflexively. So for this chapter, we're in chapter 11. If you open up chapter 11 and go to our lista de vocabulario, that will take you right here. And we have a lot of reflexive verbs in this chapter. So in this gray box here, we have despertarse, that ends in se. That means it's reflexive. Acostarse, again, it ends in se. That is reflexive. Levantarse, prepararse, ducharse, vestirse, etc. Those that end in se are reflexive. If you continue in that gray box, you'll get to the verb desayunar. That does not end in se, so it is not reflexive. And then if you'll go down to this green box here, again, you have a lot of reflexive verbs in this section. So if it ends in se, that is a verb that can be used reflexively. If it does not end in se, it is not reflexive. So let's take a look at how to actually conjugate these verbs. Once we know we're dealing with a reflexive verb, we see that it ends in se. Now what do we do? Well, the first thing you want to do is we are going to take off the se and we're going to replace it with one of these 6 words. Me, te, se, nos, os, or se. Those are called reflexive pronouns. And it's really just something that you need to go ahead and start memorizing. Me will always go with yo. Te will always go with tu. Se goes with usted, él, ella, or it. Nos always goes with nosotros, just like almost always goes with nosotros. Os goes with vosotros. And the second se will go with ustedes, ellos, or ellas. And there are 2 se's in here, and that is really just to keep it simplified to go along with how we typically do our verb charts here, but they are the same words, spelled the same way, said the same way. So after we take care of our se, we decide which pronoun to use, then things start looking pretty normal. We take off the AR, and we will replace it with our AR endings. So for yo, we're adding me, and then we took off the AR, me baño. AS for tu, a for usted, amos for nosotros, and so on. So that's how they work. So let's take a look at this verb phrase, cepillarse los dientes, to brush one's teeth. Now would be a great time to pause this video and see if you can't do these 3 sentences. So let's take a look at our first sentence, I'm brushing my teeth. So we want to find out who my subject is. I'm the one brushing my own teeth. So I, we know in Spanish, is yo. So now, cepillarse los dientes. We're going to take care of our reflexive pronoun first. And to go with yo, my reflexive pronoun is going to be me. After we do that, we take off the AR. And we know our ending to go with yo is an O, cepillo. Me cepillo. los dientes. All right, let's look at this second one. He is brushing his teeth. Again, he's doing this to himself, so it is reflexive. So he in Spanish is él. And then our reflexive pronoun to go with él is going to be se. Take off my AR in cepillar. And our ending to go with he is an A. Se cepilla. And then just add in los dientes. And our last sentence here, we are brushing our teeth. Again, we are doing this to ourselves. It is reflexive. So we is nosotros. The reflexive pronoun to go with nosotros is nos. Take off the AR in cepillar. To go with nosotros, the ending is amos. Nos cepillamos los dientes. All right, so that's how regular verbs work. Now, unfortunately for us learning Spanish, there are stem change reflexive verbs. So we've got to take a look at these. So despertarse is an E to IE verb. We'll go ahead and just look at that really quickly. Acostarse is O to UE. Vestirse is E to I. Divertirse is E to IE. Sentarse is E to IE. Dormirse is O to UE. Sentirse is E to IE. And probarse is O to UE. So let's deal with this. Despertarse. So again, the first thing we will do is take off that SE. Write down our reflexive pronouns. Me, te, se, nos, os, se. Then we know we have to take off the AR, but we have an extra step with stem change verbs. Remember, these are also called boot verbs because these four conjugations are the ones that are affected here. And despertarse we know is E to IE. So now there are two E's in this stem when we take off the AR. Remember, it's going to be the last E in the stem. So for those four that are in the boot, instead of DESPE, it's going to be DESPIE. So that's what that stem will be inside the boot. Now outside of the boot, for nosotros and vosotros, we're going to go back to the original stem. So instead of IE, we just go back to the E. And then it is an AR verb, so we'll put our AR endings on here. O, os, a, amos, ice, on. Me despierto, te despiertas, and so on. So I'm just going to flip through these really quickly. This is something that you could pause the video and write these down. But O to UE for acostar. Again, inside the boot, we have the O to UE. Outside the boot, it's an O. Same thing with vestirse, divertirse, sentarse, dormirse, O to UE, sentirse, E to IE in the boot, probarse, O to UE inside the boot. All right, so we've got those. One last thing before you guys get to your practice. Reflexive pronoun placement. There are 3 places that we can place a reflexive pronoun at the moment. So we can put our reflexive pronoun before a conjugation. So if I want to say, I am brushing my teeth. We already looked at this one. Me cepillo los dientes. So my conjugated verb here is cepillo, and I put my reflexive verb before it because it's a conjugation. It also can go after an infinitive. So if I wanted to say, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to is voy a, and that's my conjugated verb. So I'm going to leave cepillar as an infinitive, but then I still need the me because I am going to do this to myself. So I can put it on the end of that infinitive. And that is one word, cepillarme. Now I also, let me put on los dientes there. Voy a cepillarme los dientes. Now I also, because in that sentence I have this verb phrase, voy a cepillar, I can put that reflexive verb there, or I could have said me voy a cepillar, because I do also have a conjugation there. And then our last option for where to put a present participle is after, or where to put a reflexive pronoun is after a present participle. So if I wanted to say I am brushing my teeth right now, estoy is I am, and remember we're going to take this word cepillar, take off the AR and change it to ando to make that ing ending. So cepillando. So now I have a conjugation and a present participle. So if I want to put it somewhere around that present participle, it's going to need to go at the end. Cepillándome los dientes. And just like I could put it before my conjugation in this example, I have a conjugation in this phrase. Estoy cepillando. Estoy is a conjugation, so I can put that me in front of estoy. Me estoy cepillando los dientes. Now, in every sentence, you will have a conjugation. So I would say that this first rule is the most important rule to know, but it also is really important to understand after an infinitive and after a present participle.